Tutankhamun's story begins long before his birth, during the reign of his father, Akhenaten. Akhenaten is one of the most controversial figures in ancient Egyptian history. He famously abandoned Egypt's traditional polytheistic religious practices, shifting the focus of worship to one single god, Aton, the sun disk. This caused a great deal of social and political upheaval, as Egypt had been a polytheistic society for centuries, worshipping many gods, including the powerful Amun, Ra, and others. Akhenaten moved the capital of Egypt to Amarna, a city he built to honor Aton. This break from tradition was met with resistance, particularly from the powerful priesthood of Amun. Akhenaten's reign is considered a period of religious and political instability, with many seeing his reforms as a form of heresy. The birth of Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun was born around 1341 BCE, during the reign of his father, Akhenaten. His early years were likely overshadowed by the religious revolution that dominated Egypt. His mother's identity remains uncertain, though she may have been one of Akhenaten's lesser wives. He had a more famous sister, Ankhesenaten, who later became his wife. Tutankhamun's name at birth was Tutankhamun, reflecting his father's religious reforms. This name means living image of Aton, which symbolized his connection to the worship of Aton. However, after Akhenaten's death, Egypt's leadership faced a period of crisis and instability. The sudden rise to the throne. After the death of Akhenaten, Egypt went through a brief period of confusion. Menkaure, possibly a co-regent or successor to Akhenaten, ruled for a short time, but was soon gone. Tutankhamun, then just a child, ascended to the throne. He was likely around 8 or 9 years old when he became pharaoh. This meant his reign was largely ceremonial in the early years. The actual governance of Egypt fell to powerful figures like Ai, his Grand Vizier, and Horemheb, a military leader. These men held significant power behind the scenes and were responsible for the kingdom's administration. The religious reforms and change of name. Tutankhamun's reign is marked by an effort to restore the old religious practices. Under the influence of his advisors, he abandoned his father's religious reforms and returned to the worship of Amun and other gods. To symbolize this shift, his name was changed to Tutankhamun, meaning living image of Amun. Tutankhamun and his advisors also sought to restore the power and prestige of the priesthood of Amun. This priesthood had been weakened during Akhenaten's reign. The young pharaoh's decision to return to the old gods was a sign of restoring stability and tradition in Egypt. Life at court and royal duties. Though Tutankhamun was technically the king, his role was largely symbolic for much of his reign. As a child ruler, he likely had little direct involvement in military campaigns or complex diplomatic affairs. Most of the decision-making was done by his advisors, who were more experienced in governance. The most notable aspect of his reign was the restoration of Egypt's religious practices. He also initiated the rebuilding of temples and shrines to Amun and other deities. These efforts helped stabilize the country and reintegrate the powerful priesthood back into the fabric of Egyptian politics. Marriage to Ankhesenamun. Around the age of 12, Tutankhamun married his half-sister, Ankhesenamun. She had been his companion since childhood. This marriage was likely political, as royal marriages were often used to secure alliances and strengthen claims to the throne. Ankhesenamun was the daughter of Akhenaten and may have been Tutankhamun's co-regent for some time. Ankhesenamun's fate after Tutankhamun's death remains unclear. Some sources suggest she may have been involved in a conspiracy after his death. She may have sought to marry the next ruler, Ai or Horemheb, in order to retain power. The mysterious death of Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun's death at the age of 18 or 19 is one of the most mysterious aspects of his life. Historians and archaeologists have debated for years what caused his early death. Several theories have been proposed. Some experts believe that Tutankhamun may have suffered an accident. X-rays of his mummy reveal a broken leg, which could have been the result of a fall. It is suggested that an infection from the fracture led to his death. Another theory is that Tutankhamun may have contracted a severe case of malaria. DNA tests on his mummified body revealed traces of the malaria parasite, which might have contributed to his rapid decline. There are more sensational theories that suggest Tutankhamun may have been murdered. Some scholars believe that he was assassinated, perhaps by his advisors or a rival faction. The cause of death is still debated, and no definitive evidence has been found to support one theory over the others. The discovery of the tomb. In 1922, British archaeologist Howard Carter made one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in history. He found Tutankhamun's tomb in the Valley of the Kings. The tomb had remained largely untouched by tomb robbers. Carter's team unearthed a vast array of treasures that revealed the extraordinary wealth and artistry of ancient Egypt. Inside the tomb, Carter discovered gold statues, intricate jewelry, thrones, and the famous golden funerary mask of Tutankhamun. This mask is now one of the most iconic symbols of ancient Egypt. The treasures found in the tomb provided a remarkable glimpse into the royal life of ancient Egypt and the opulence of its rulers. The curse of the pharaoh. After the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, a mysterious series of events began to unfold. Some members of Carter's team, including Lord Carnarvon, the financial backer of the excavation, died under unusual circumstances. These deaths fueled rumors of a curse of the pharaohs. Historians argue that the deaths were coincidental. However, the idea of the curse became a popular part of the Tutankhamun mythos. This added to the mystique surrounding the young pharaoh. The legacy of Tutankhamun. Despite the brevity of his reign, Tutankhamun's tomb remains one of the greatest archaeological discoveries ever made. His treasures shed light on the culture and wealth of ancient Egypt. His name lives on in the public imagination. Tutankhamun's death at such a young age, combined with the spectacular nature of the tomb and the mystery surrounding his life, has made him one of the most famous figures in ancient Egyptian history. Today, his legacy continues to captivate millions around the world. His story remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of ancient history.